Hello, this is Larry Hook, Superintendent of the Forest Hills School District. Over the past month, we have shared multiple times how we were taking a deeper look at the financial health of our organization. I think it's the responsibility of every successful business, organization, school district to understand specifically where they stand in relation to their financial resources. Our financial resources are critical because that drives everything that we do at Forest Hills School District. We need to have that understanding to know and come up with proper solutions. What I want to do is use this video as a chance to go over some of those key points that we've identified since I joined the staff here in August, a little over 2.5 months ago, and give you a little bit of a preview of a more detailed discussion that will happen at our October 19th board meeting. Our district and the Board of Education have been discussing significant fiscal challenges for much of this calendar year. As of this school year, fiscal year 23, the cost to educate students and operate this district is outpacing the revenues coming in. That simply is another way of saying we are in deficit spending. You can see that with the graph that's on your screen. It was projected at the last 5-year forecast in May that would happen this year, and it is, but that's our reality. There is simply not enough money to maintain what we are currently doing. But let's be very clear here. What we're currently doing is providing a fantastic education to the students in Forest Hills. Our teachers and our staff go above and beyond every single day to provide a great education to the most valuable piece within our organization, and that's our students. In order to properly plan the next steps that will guarantee generations of students in Forest Hills receive the same quality education, we need to take an objective look at how we got to this point. So school funding in Ohio is set up in such a way that districts will need to continue asking taxpayers for additional funding just to keep up. There is no way to avoid that scenario unless the law changes. House Bill 920 was passed in 1976, and since that time, districts regularly, every 3 years to 5 years, have to go back to the taxpayers for more money. It's very simple. Look at the graph that's on the screen. The straight line indicates property taxes collected. So when we pass a levy for X amount of millage, we collect so much money. We are never allowed to collect any more than what was passed at the time of the election. And so therefore, your revenues cannot go up. Meanwhile, we are all dealing with inflation, inflationary costs, just like the gas that you're seeing right now at the pumps. Last month, inflation was at 8.2%. So you can see very quickly that intersection point is where you start spending more than you take in. Therefore, you're in deficit spending. This is by Ohio law. And like I said before, all districts really are the same in that regard. This is happening despite efforts by the district to reduce costs and operate in the most efficient way possible. When roughly 85% of our annual budget is allocated to personnel, every single reduction impacts students. Since 2018, Forest Hills has reduced 20 full-time positions, including 14 teaching positions, by attrition. Each school building cut their budget by 10% in 2019. All of this happened even with the 2019 operating levy that our community generously supported. We continuously look for ways to keep costs manageable while still providing a quality education to our students. We are facing some additional challenges here at Forest Hills. The 2014 bond issue made some much needed improvements to our schools, but yet left us vulnerable financially in a couple of ways. The 2014 bond issue project was for $103 million and was to provide all of the necessary improvements that were needed within the building. At the end of the day, there was a combined overruns and additional items beyond the $103 million to the tune of $10.24 million. Now, I don't mention that to criticize or place blame, because there were a variety of factors that impacted the cost and several challenges our district leadership was facing at the time. But the fact remains, however, that a large portion of the overage came out of our general fund. That directly impacts educational programming, and it takes away flexibility when it comes to other costs. And you can see an example of some of the things that we got out of the 2014 bond issue. The major pieces were Wilson Elementary, which was much needed, the front vestibules for security coming into each building, much needed. We got air conditioning in 4 of the 9 buildings, but there was a lot that wasn't touched. An example was roofs. 70 to 80% of the roofs were not touched during this time, and we've had to spend some resources, and we have a lot more to spend to bring some of these buildings up to speed. Another portion of that debt is being paid annually from our permanent improvement fund, if that's really what you want to call it, because truthfully, a $500,000 permanent improvement fund is so small, it doesn't really make much of a dent. We have 9 school buildings and a transportation depot and a central office. So we have 11 buildings that we have to take care of, along with all of the parking lots and other pieces. When you look at the state and the number of school districts that have permanent improvement funds, the vast majority do. In fact, only 10 to 15% don't have one. Now, we do have a 0.5, but my point is that it just doesn't cover it, because a large portion of that PI fund is being utilized paying off the overages from the 2014 bond issue. So it's poultry at the best. A permanent improvement levy is to address those capital needs that you have to do, and they're typically pretty high in costs. That's why you need one of those that's outside of your general fund that covers that. Otherwise, you're constantly robbing your general fund, which supports students directly in the classroom, and have to pay for asphalt, which you have to do too. We should be at least 2 mils of permanent improvement funds. So either 2 to 3 mils, somewhere in that capacity would be the right number for this many buildings. In addition to being more expensive than expected, the 2014 project left certain key systems untouched. The cost right now to make the necessary improvements to things like roofs, parking lots, security cameras, school buses could be anywhere between $5 to $5.5 million. Not making these improvements could be even costlier. If we have any type of system failure, we will likely need to spend more on those immediate repairs. What I haven't even talked to you about are the urgent needs within our athletics and arts departments that are just as important, especially to the safety of our student athletes and our performers. Turf, gym floors, tracks, pools, theaters, sound systems, and the list goes on. Like I said, we need to understand the problems we are facing in order to make decisions to set Forest Hills up for a strong future. There's no sugarcoating it. We are facing some significant challenges and difficult choices. That's why every possible option is on the table. And I am working with our administrative team to take a close look at different scenarios. I know that by working together, we can set Forest Hills on a healthy and sustainable path for future success, both academically and financially. In the near future, we will provide more information about some of those options. Let me be crystal clear. No plan has been decided on, and it will take time for us to decide as a community and to properly analyze and discuss our path forward. Like I tell our staff, as we move forward, the best interest of our students must be at the forefront. Thank you.